I've survived 4 months now of full-time, twice-a-day rowing training with Cambridge, while just barely keeping ahead of all my PhD work. A couple days before Christmas Eve, Coach Rob cuts another 5 or 6 people from the team, and then gives us a week to train on our own over the holiday, since I've made it through selection. Now, the next step is training camp. I'm told to meet with the rest of the guys at Heathrow at 4:30 a.m. on New Year's Day. This period is crucial because no one has any classes for 2 weeks, which means Rob aims to make us train as hard as national team rowers while we have no academic excuses. Training camp this year is in Aviz, Portugal.
What's up, shorty? Welcome to Aviz. How you doing, baby girl?
At a hotel which was purpose-built for politicians trying to escape and for rowing training camps. My roommate for the trip is Dane again. And he's right, this place is nice. But our head coach Rob does not waste time, and we head down to the water to rig boats immediately and start with the rowing. And honestly, the first row is just lovely. Everyone's well fed from Christmas and decently rested. How naive we were. Dinner that evening is just incredible. I mean, everything is homemade.
Because remember, food is fuel.
Breakfast the next morning is somehow even better. The butter literally comes from the farm next door, and the bread rolls were clearly baked that morning before we arrived.
Because remember, food is fuel. Oh, yeah.
But then it takes me maybe 48 hours before I sort of get the real picture. The lovely food, the lovely rooms, and the incredible view was all Rob's way of bribing us to basically keep training as long and as hard as possible. 3 sessions a day, we basically did max effort pieces alternating with endless mileage over and over and over again. One of the newer things is that each seat in the boat had these power gauges in the oarlock that would tell Coach Rob in real time how many watts we were pulling on every single stroke. And if you drop below any of your competitors for even a couple strokes, you'd end up losing your seat in the top boat. Robert also brought up Tim McLaren, the legendary Olympian and Australian rowing coach who'd also coached the US national team. And it was an honor having him there. But Tim's also a guy with no patience for any sign of weakness. I mean, I thought I already had calloused hands from the 4 months of twice-a-day training we'd been doing, but the fresh blisters I got from 3-a-day training hit me hard. Between each session, we'd get like maybe 30 minutes to an hour, and I'd try and work a bit on my PhD. But rowing that much tends to cut your IQ in half. I don't have a lot of IQ to spare, so mainly I ended up watching the World Darts Finals, and then wasting a ridiculous amount of time playing a load of dumb games like the New York Times mini crossword, Wordle, Quordle, Phrasal, Semantle, Traveler, and then when even those games got too intelligent, Suika game. endless Suika game. And the undisputed king of all of these games, Vice President Luca Ferraro. Luca is an absolute force of nature on the team. You have to meet him. He does love laughing at his own jokes, but he's also the best at knowing when it's time to lock in. And it's when the training gets tough right now, is when he starts cooking most of the other bowsiders on the team. Anyway, you get through half the camp and things start to get more and more grim as the days go on. Every session it gets a little harder to move. And before you know it, you're dragging your body off the floor with exactly 90 seconds before meet time. And you flop your way through the third warm-up stretch of the day. You just feel like a puppet made of lead. And then you push out into the crappiest conditions, and it'll just feel like the worst rowing you've ever done in your life. And everything burns from the first stroke onwards. And you'll quietly lose your temper at every comment the coach makes. And you feel like there's no way you'll be able to keep your head up for another 10 strokes, let alone for another 10Ks. And the training clearly isn't working, and what are you even doing here at this point? And then suddenly the boat will turn a corner and the boat will just effortlessly glide between strokes. Something tiny and imperceptible will click, and it'll all be worth it. And you'll finally sink into bed that evening, totally broken, but sort of happy in a sick sort of way, just to face brutal pieces with swaps and selection pressure the next morning. And Rob loves running selection at the hardest point of training camp, so he can see who he can break. If you make it to the last 2 days of camp, they tend to hit a different note. Yes, you're horribly tired and broken, but you know that a relief day off is just 48 hours away, so things can get a little bit delirious and unhinged.
No, Travi has it, right? That's not the BBC one.
Whoa, it's like a mirror. It's like a mirror.
Guys will start maybe missing 1 or 2 warm-ups to get in some cricket practice. Some guys decide to brave the ice-cold swimming pool. And on the last evening, one of the hotel staff decided to put up the 2009 Victoria's Secret one-way show, which hypnotized some guys. And then after what feels like an eternity, but also far too soon, it's time to pack up all the boats and have one last incredible meal before flying back to Cambridge, where the final few seats for the blue boat will be decided by one more big erg test and fixtures against the best of British rowing.